Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time for Joseph. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, whatever it may be, commentaries, whatever, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box and right below the video. So Joseph, he wanted me to react to his top 30 1980s movies. And I've been getting a lot of people sending a paid request for me to react to their list, which I have no issues with because it makes things a bit different. And I'm looking at a lot of these movies. It's a really good list. I agree with a lot of this stuff. Now, again, this is the top 30 80s movies for him. It's his list. It's not your or my list. Number 1, Empire of the Sun. That's actually a film I have not seen. I know it's a Steven Spielberg film. I know Christian Bale stars when he was a little kid. But I haven't seen the film, so I can't say anything about it. Number 2, Back to the Future. That's a classic movie. I mean, what did he say? Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd. Interesting, unique story. Going back to see your parents when they were your age. How you can change fate and luck for the better. Because by the end it works out for Marty. Well directed by Robert Zemeckis. And you have two guys with Marty and Doc Brown that have become pop culture type of characters. That were the influence of stuff like Rick and Morty and all the other stuff. But Back to the Future is a classic. From the DeLorean and using that specific car for the time travel vehicle to the excellent music by Alan Silvestri that just really brings it up to a whole new level. And it's not a special effects movie. Like, you watch the first Back to the Future, there's not a lot of special effects in it. It's all about the concept, the characters, some sincere humor. Like when Marty has to convince his young dad, who's a sci-fi fan, so he just makes up names from his time. I'm Lord Vader from the planet Vulcan. To make Crispin Glover believe in what he needs to believe. And becomes a sweet story. Crispin Glover finds out the inner man in him to stand up for himself, to believe in himself more. That not only get his parents back together, which he accidentally screwed up, inadvertently screwed up, but to make things better. And it's an entertaining adventure. So you need to adventure and take on time travel. The cause and effect bubble. Or I should say ripple. And Back to the Future is a wonderful film. So, great choice. Number 3, The Shining. Classic. My favorite Stanley Kubrick film. My favorite Jack Nicholson film. Jack Nicholson gives such an entertaining performance in that. Give me the bat. Wendy, darling of my life, you didn't let me finish. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains in. I'm going to bash you right the fuck in. Just the way the camera worked and the slow imposing travel through the Overlook Hotel that makes it a lot more sinister to the filmmaking aspect. And Shelley Winters, Shelley Duvall, Shelley Winters. That'd be a different movie if it was Shelley Winters. Shelley Duvall as Wendy. A lot of people get annoyed by her performance. To me, she's just being a nice wife and mother, and because of the isolation, because of Sally, some of the verbal abuse from the director Stanley Kubrick. So I respect the guy as a director, but I don't respect him as a person, because I don't think you need to do that ever to someone on a movie. It's a film that, the length of the movie never bothered me. And from the imposing musical track from the beginning and the beautiful aerial shots to, yeah, just really making this hotel a character. And I know Stephen King hates the film, whatever. I saw his miniseries that's more like his novel. I thought that sucked. I thought the hedge maze here was done better than the hedge animals coming to life. And the father who is trying to do the right thing in the novel and in the miniseries, I get how that could be perhaps better for the character, but definitely makes the character a lot less scary and imposing. I don't know why I keep using the word imposing. Is it The Shining? Great movie. Number 4, E.T. I do think E.T. is a good movie. It's not a favorite movie of mine. It's not in my top 10 or top 20 or top 100. There's other Spielberg films I enjoy more. But, I liked E.T. Just bad that it took the sales away from John Carpenter's The Thing, among other films of that year, that I personally think are better than E.T. There's other alien films like Starman and such, and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, for friendly alien filmmaking that I prefer over E.T. But I still think it's a good movie. I think the effects on E.T. itself, I thought are well captured. I think the cast do their jobs well. I don't think it's a bad film at all. But funny enough, it's a film that at the time was considered like one of the best films. You really don't hear anyone talk about E.T. nowadays. Like, you'll hear people talk about Back to the Future, or Indiana Jones, or The Shining, or Scarface, or The Goonies, even John Carpenter's The Thing. The Thing, I swear, I hear more talked about than E.T. So I do think E.T. won the battle, but John Carpenter's The Thing might have won the war in terms of longevity. Just saying. But E.T. not a bad choice. Number 5, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Love that film. I love all the Indiana Jones films. I don't think we need a 5th one. Last Crusade, you got Sean Connery and Harrison Ford working together. Junior should have sent it to the Marx Brothers. Fun action sequences. I love the finale where Indiana Jones has to go through these traps and these trials to get to the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail just seems like a natural selection to be the artifact that I'm surprised it took the 3rd movie to deal with the Holy Grail. Very entertaining film. Great rapport between the father and son characters. It's nice to see John Rhys Davies and Marcus Brody come back from the first movie. They ride off into the sunset. I think most people would say you could just end the franchise there. But I like Indiana Jones 4. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be, but you don't need a 5th one. It's Harrison Ford's like 105 years old, and he can't do much anymore. There's rumors, and I say rumors, that there'll be a female Indiana Jones that'll take over for Harrison Ford, and you don't need it. You don't need it. Number 6, Raiders of the Lost Ark. That and Jaws, between those two, are my favorite Spielberg films. That is my favorite Indiana Jones film. I love the adventure aspect in that, even more so than the others, although I love the others. Classic score by John Williams. Just so many memorable scenes, from the opening and the boulder chasing him to the fight near the airplane and getting his ass kicked but doing his best against this big muscled motherfucker. The guy with the sword. The Indiana Jones says screw it and shoots him. That was done because there was supposed to be a big choreographed fight, but Harrison Ford is really sick. And he's like, well, wait a minute, I got a gun. Why wouldn't I not just shoot the guy? And they go, yeah, that's true. Why wouldn't he just shoot the guy? So the sword guy took all these months to learn all these moves, and it was all for it was all pointless. I can imagine that guy was superly pissed off, but people do remember that scene. Because it's like, yeah, that makes sense. Why wouldn't he do that? I love Marion. I love that actress, Karen Allen, who was in Starman, Scrooge with Bill Murray. This I love. Just a classic movie. Yes, I mean, it's one of those things where technically one of the weird things about Raiders of the Lost Ark is that when you think about it, Indiana Jones really did not have to do anything. At the end of the day, he was kind of pointless in the story. What I mean by that is, by the end, the Nazis have the Ark of the Covenant. They open it, and they die. So no matter what, they would have opened it. In fact, if you took it to Germany and Hitler opened it, Hitler would have died. So maybe you argue that Indiana Jones fucked up and didn't end the war. So it's Indiana Jones' fault that the Holocaust... So Indiana Jones caused the Holocaust. You could think of it that way. Maybe the Holocaust had happened by then. I don't remember the time this movie takes place in. Obviously, the days of Nazi Germany, but I don't remember the... Anyway, I'm just goofing, but I'm just saying if you think about it, the ending is him tied up with Marion, and the bad guys have the thing, they open it up, and they all die, and Indiana Jones had nothing to do with it. While the other ones, like, Indy goes in to get the, the cup. And, at least it's a story from reconnect. I guess maybe the story is that him and Marion fall in love, which then they forget until Indiana Jones 4. That's one of the things I love about Indiana Jones 4 is the reconnection of those characters. But I still love the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's still just a fun adventure to watch. Number 7, Once Upon a Time in America. To be honest, I haven't seen it. I think I got requested that one time, and I looked at the running time. I said, I'm sorry, man. I just do not... I only have a... When there are movies that are that long, it's just a lot harder to do as a request because I have a lot of other requests to fulfill. So I haven't seen it. I've heard good things about it, I just haven't seen it. And I don't know if the plot would just be my cup of tea, but I didn't hear a lot of good things about it, but I can't say anything about it. Number 8, Return of the Jedi. I enjoy Return of the Jedi as well. I was born on the day Return of the Jedi came out, May 25th, 1983. So I'm a Return of the Jedi baby. Funny enough. And yes, you have Ewoks, but I like that there's a finality to the ending. That you honestly did not need any more Star Wars films. You really did not. The lightsaber fight between Luke and Vader is perhaps my favorite lightsaber, not for choreography, but just for the emotional impact. With the way it's lit in the dark, and you just see it shine by the lightsaber lights, the choir music that made it so unique from the rest of the Star Wars soundtrack that John Williams put in there. And yes, less about choreography, was more about the emotional story attached to that fight. I like the beginning where Luke is able to be kick-ass and swing his lightsaber, take some motherfuckers out, save the day. They get Han Solo out of there, save their friend. It's a fun action sequence to start off the movie. Yes, you just say that, Han Solo doesn't have a whole lot to do other than kind of be around Ewoks. But I still think it's an entertaining film. So I see Lando Calrissian get something to do and help blow up the next Death Star. So Lando gets a great moment. And like when it ends, there's the characters. It ends on a high note. I like Return of the Jedi. Number 9, Empire Strikes Back. I like the film. I like the other Star Wars films, the first one and Return of the Jedi more. So I like A New Hope, that's my favorite. I like Return of the Jedi more, but I like The Empire Strikes Back. You have a great fight between him and Darth Vader in the finale. A great opening. The asteroid. A chase sequence with Millennium Falcon. Just one of those films that just falls into that weird predicament of you're the middle film, so you can't have an actual finale. You have to have it to be continued. You have a beginning, but technically it began in the movie before. So it's that weird middle. I don't know how else to put it. But yeah, I like The Empire Strikes Back. It's just, a lot of people call it like the best sci-fi film of all time. I'm like, well, I like the film. I think it's a good film, but there's just other sci-fi films I like personally more for various reasons. Number 10, Number 10, Temple of Doom. Wonderful Indiana Jones film. Oopsie-day. Yeah. Ripping hearts out for that rating. Pretty risque. The whole cult. I like that it was a darker movie. I actually appreciate this kind of a darker film. I know that made some people not like it, but I think that was rather refreshing. They're pretty damn cool, and you still got some damn good action scenes. I will say Willie is not as good as Karen Allen, but I could still deal with her character. I like Short Round. He was a likable character. The cult felt dangerous. I like that it wasn't just a repeat of the previous Indiana Jones film. I mean, it's called the Temple of Doom. You really felt the doom. 11, Full Metal Jacket, wonderful Vietnam War film that made it, at least Stanley Kubrick did something a bit different. It wasn't just the jungle again, because when we think of Vietnam, it's always about the jungle, but he's like, no, I want to show different aspects. I want to show basic training, how some people, if they're not in the best, could be wired to even more fucked up, dangerous of a killer in that predicament, which was Vincent D'Onofrio, whose theater was not all there to begin with. I thought that was fascinating. I thought the scene where he kills R. Lee Ermey and shoots himself is a very effective, powerful sequence, especially with the really creepy music. Like the score in that scene is creepier music than I've heard in a lot of horror films. And also then the second half, it's a urban, like a city warfare, whereas in the ruins of these cities and the sniper that's attacking them. Again, that made it feel different compared to other Vietnam films, and it became one of my favorite Vietnam War movies. My favorite, if you're not taking into account escapism, like Rambo First Blood Part 2 and such. And then I would put like maybe Uncommon Valor in there. But that's after the war. If you talk about like during the war, that's less escapism. My favorite is probably Hamburger Hill. But Full Metal Jacket would be in the top 3 of that type. Might actually be second, and maybe Casualties of War 3. Platoon, maybe top 5. But really like Full Metal Jacket. 12, Scarface, my favorite Al Pacino role. I think he's very entertaining in that. He's a ball and a half. I don't kill kids. Fuck that. You die now, motherfucker! Hey. You're Tony Santana. You're Tony Santana talking about Tony Montana. But we're out and I've been Tony Santana and we're talking about Scarface. With these puto gringos. For those that don't know, Tony Santana was on this channel a long time ago talking about these putos called Scarface. And he likes the movie. He thinks it's a kick-ass movie and he loves the shit. So, trust Tony Santana. You should check out Scarface, man. Sometimes I thought about bringing back this character, but I'm sure people would not know what the fuck I was doing. So, what would the Tony Santana? Maybe I'll do that though. But I was thinking of doing that, but then if someone sends in a paid request, you know, they want to hear my thoughts, not me trying to do a skit. So I don't know. We'll see. But I love Scarface. 13, The Goonies, great choice, classic, kids film. 14, John Carpenter's The Thing, my favorite John Carpenter film, one of my favorite horror films out there. 15, Predator, absolute classic, my favorite Arnold film. 16, Aliens, one of my personal favorite films ever. It'd be in my top 3. Well, 80s, it might be number 1. And then Rambo First Blood Part 2 would be probably number 2. But yeah, Aliens, for 80s movies, probably is my favorite 80s film. Aliens. That probably is my favorite 80s film. It's a great choice. Blowout. I like Blowout. The ending, I get what they're going with. The ending, not every ending's going to be positive, sunshine and rainbows. But, you know, it's an effectively directed film by Brian De Palma. The ending definitely hits below the belt, so you do feel it a bit. Nicely done performances, especially John Travolta. Interesting setup with a guy who works in sound, mixed sound design and on films. That may seem unique for a character's job, for our lead protagonist. Decent film. 18, The Road Warrior, what more can be said? Classic. 19, Big Trouble in Little China, love the film, personal favorite of mine. We really shook the pillars of heaven, didn't we, Wayne? Love Big Trouble in Little China. 20, The Untouchables, fairly solid film with Kevin Costner, Sean Connery, taking down Al Capone, played by Robert De Niro. Another Brian De Palma film. Number 21, Blade Runner. I like Blade Runner, I just don't love it as much as other people. I love the visuals, I love the Vangelis music. Rutger Hauer does a great job. I do think Harrison Ford, I like Harrison Ford, but I think he does get overshadowed by Rutger Hauer and the visuals. Because I just don't care about the love story between him and Sean Young. I think that's one of the things is that a lot of people love the love story between him and Sean Young. I just don't think they had chemistry with each other. That's just me. But I do like Blade Runner. 22, Ghostbusters, one of my favorite comedies of all time. 23, Silverado. I couldn't get into Silverado. I saw that film and I went, I know a lot of people like the movie, but I don't know, I just could not get into Silverado. That was just me. So, yeah. Oh well. 24, Tenebrae. That's a Dario Argento film I don't even remember much about. With Argento, I like Deep Red. That's my favorite. I like the one with Jennifer Connelly with the bugs. Phenomena. Deep Red and Phenomena, I would say, are my two favorite Dario Argento films. Other ones I've seen, I like the style. I don't mind Suspiria, the original Suspiria, but like I've seen his other ones. Like, yeah, I like the style, but I'm just not sure about the characters or the plot. And Tenebrae is one of them. Is like, okay, there's some nice style to it, but I'm not sure about the characters. And because I like the lead guy, Deep Red, and I like Jennifer Connelly in Phenomena, and that does help in my enjoyment of a film. But, you know, number 24, Tenebrae. 25, Die Hard. What do you say, Die Hard? One of the best action films ever made. 26 The Killer, good John Woo film. You have Inframan. Well, I think of Danny Lee is the cop. Chow Yun Fat is the hitman assassin. They team up. Excellent action sequence in the finale in this like church, this chapel. And the top Danny Lee was in this film Inframan from back in the day. So oh cool, it's Inframan and Hard Boiled teaming up together. But good John Woo film. John Woo is a great action director, at least of his time. 27 Back to the Future Part 2, wonderful sequel. Always enjoyed it. I think as a kid, I would say that's my favorite. I think nowadays my favorite is the first Back to the Future, but as a kid, my favorite was Back to the Future Part 2 because I love how creative it is as a sequel. Because we're going to the future and the fun, entertaining way of showcasing the future with the hoverboards and the way people dress. But then you can also go back to the first movie. So there's the Marty from the first movie, as well as the Marty here watching him from the first movie. Like I thought that was very clever. And the way the Project Almanac was put into it, I thought that was an interesting story. The alternate 1985, I thought it really played around the concept of time fairly well compared to a lot of time travel movies. So I liked Back to the Future Part 2 quite a bit. 28, Star Trek 4, my favorite Star Trek film. I love the fish out of water comedy in it. I thought each of the characters were utilized very well. Fun film. A double dumbass on you. 29, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Entertaining comedy. I love Chevy Chase's freak out at the end. I love the one bit where he's at his job and he's thanking people. He's being nice. And all of a sudden it's like, kiss my ass. Kiss my ass. Kiss his ass. Happy Hanukkah. It's relatable because you're at home for the holidays with the family coming in and just all insanity of the in-laws and things not just going as well as you want it to be. I thought it was a big improvement over European Vacation. I like Vegas Vacation for what it is, but I do think Christmas Vacation and the first one are definitely the best of that franchise. Randy Quaid, before he went off the reservation and into insanity, he did a good job as Cousin Eddie. And yeah, entertaining holiday movie. It'd probably be my top 10 Christmas movies, along with Scrooged and Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, among other stuff. But yeah, I love Christmas Vacation. And number 30, the original Poltergeist. Wonderful film. I love the original Poltergeist. Wonderful cast. You really buy them as a family. Fun special effects. Regardless who directed it, Tobe Hooper or Steven Spielberg, I still like the fucking movie. So it's a good list. Again, 1, Empire of the Sun, 2, Back to the Future, 3, The Shining, 4, E.T., 5, Last Crusade, 6, Raiders of the Lost Ark, 7, Once Upon a Time in America, 8, Return of the Jedi, 9, Empire Strikes Back, 10, Temple of Doom, 11, Full Metal Jacket, 12, Scarface, 13, The Goonies, 14, John Carpenter's The Thing, 15, Predator, 16, Aliens, 17, Blowout, 18, The Road Warrior, 19, Big Trouble in Little China, 20, The Untouchables, 21, Blade Runner, 22, Ghostbusters, 23, Silverado, 24, Tenebrae, 25, Die Hard, 26, The Killer, 27, Back to the Future Part 2, 28, Star Trek 4, 29, Christmas Vacation, 30, Poltergeist. And once again, that tells you how the 80s were a hell of a lot better decade than the decade we've... think of all these films, and you can literally name 50 more 80s films. They're just like, wow. Now think of the past 10 years of where we are at. I guess maybe if you're a hardcore Marvel DC fan. But other than that, I mean, There's been good films, but classics, I don't know about that. But anyway, that was Joseph's top 30 favorite 1980s movies. Thanks for watching. Take care. We will see you guys later. Bye-bye.